Do it in house?
Mograph. Mograph.
Channel. It's out. Red, Sarah, Paul, Jason, and Rev again. What's up, everybody? Set up here. I think we're good to go to our faces, though. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I need,
Hop out with
I
chat.
need the Mograph logo. Let's get that.
Huh?
How's that? Yeah, oh yeah, Mograph.
Oh,
transition
nice.
logo. Oh yeah. Brett Lewis, Gustav, all the peoples.
Hi y'all, I'm Matt Milstead. I create the
Alright.
worst Retopo tutorials of any software ever.
Apparently, even though everybody who watches it is ecstatic.
Yeah, well,
Except
can't
that
make
one
everyone
guy.
happy.
We'll give him a refund. Let's see. Oh, I thought the bat signal went out. Apparently it didn't. There we go. The bat signal is out. I think we're good to go. Oh, feeling good here. Apparently you were looking spiffy, sir. With your new haircut.
Me?
With your new haircut, yeah.
Yes. It's been way too long. I needed to get it done. And we've been so busy lately that it's like, okay, I'm gonna do it on the weekend. And then I have so much to do on the weekend that I can't. So it's good to feel good looking again.
All right. I think we're good. So we're
Test.
We're gonna start rolling. I'm going to start my audition with a new project. 44-1. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
my back is killing me.
All right. Haircuts for everybody. I got a haircut too. Sure did. Sure did. Look at that. Look at that. Starting to stubble again though. All right. Got my notes. Notes are good. Everybody feeling good? Is everybody recording?
I'm rolling,
Oh,
yes.
not yet. Should I?
Yes. Go ahead and
Yes.
start
Okay.
recording. Hi, Jeremy.
There it is. We're good.
Jeremy. All right. Now we're going to do a clap count. It's going to be 1 2 3 clap. All right. Stand by. 1 2 3. All right. There we go.
You think it wouldn't be off at all because we all are in like the Dallas area? You know what I'm
The
saying?
internet doesn't care. Your ping doesn't care.
That's right.
Microsoft certainly doesn't care. All right. Let's do really good show. You ready for this?
Really good shoe.
Here we go. Ready to start?
Good.
Everybody comfortable? Anybody need anything? You need a water? You need a drink? You good?
Oh, hold on, I gotta run to the
Soda?
restroom real quick.
Okay. Okay. All right.
He was joking.
Here we go. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
I'm Matt, and joining us all the way from Cryptobiotica, Mr. Ross Morris.
Hey.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, show topic ideas, artist suggestions. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mograph.com. We definitely don't want to go to whatever this stupid site is that's spamming the chat.
Dude,
Who
how is
clicks
it
on
that
those
we
things?
just started?
Nobody
We just
cares.
started and we're already getting spam in the chat.
And man, Instagram has been bad. TikTok's been bad. These spammers, man. It's just like nobody
Yeah.
cares about your stupid thing. Nobody cares.
Nobody.
Noob or expert, email us. Ask us questions. Ask us noob. Ask us expert. It doesn't matter. We'll try to answer them. Ross is here. We got an email from Graham, who has a question, and we're going to read the question. I don't know if we can answer it on the air at the moment, but maybe somebody has a suggestion. and then like maybe we could look at it and check it out for ourselves, because I have not had time to even dig into what this question was. It says, "Are you up for a question on the show? I think it might make a good topic."
No, sorry. That's no, sorry.
For when to use C4D and Houdini, my question is, C4D, what is the best way to get hair onto a fracture object using outside faces? I had to bake it out and do some hacks to the selections. My sub-question is, what point do you start using Houdini rather than Cinema 4D? Personally, I think it would be much easier in Houdini. I guess there's an upfront cost of learning Houdini, which would be $397.
Yeah.
Because if you buy the Houdini course, then you're good. That's your upfront cost, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, the learning time.
I do think. I feel like the. Yeah. Are you done? Sorry.
Well,
go
it
ahead.
says, I guess it could be an interesting question for, say, Mark. At what point did he feel like Houdini was the right tool? I'm going to save this question for Thursday, because Thursday. It's this Thursday, right?
I think so.
Yes, Thursday we have a special. Yes. It is going to be at 8 p.m. Central, the Houdini Mark special on the new 18.5 Stop Being Afraid of Houdini edition. We're going to save that question for that. We will talk about it now, too, but he's going to have some great answers for that. Now, what were you going to say about that?
I think the way that you went about it, probably baking it out and then putting the hair on it, I think that was the correct way, because I don't know, man, that seems like you start getting into some funky stuff, putting hairs on fracture objects and stuff. I don't know.
Absolutely. I feel like that could be very intense workflow. Maybe something that Houdini would allow you to like cache certain aspects, like first cache the fractures and then be able to take the selections and do all that. I feel like that becomes some sort of a programming thing. It isn't to say that you can't do it in Cinema 4D. I think the main issue, like you said, is if you don't know Houdini at that point, I don't think the solution is, learn Houdini and then figure out how to do it. You're going to have to do the path of least resistance there. Now,
right.
If the question is, should I learn Houdini? That's
absolutely.
Well, is it? Like, is the solution for me if I'm having trouble with something, learn Houdini, or is it go find somebody who knows Houdini and ask them to do it? Because
you could do that too. Depends on how much you're getting paid for it.
Like find or not, or maybe even like hitting up the Slack and saying, hey, who knows how to do this? See if you can get some help. Because if you're not the type of person that's going to learn Houdini, it's like, okay, at that point, you're going to have to find another way to do it, whether it's hiring someone who knows Houdini or doing it a different way in Cinema. And so making that decision whether or not you should learn Houdini or not, I think that'll be a great question for the Thursday night special. And Mark is going to bring on one of his students as well, who's been through the course, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what the changes were in the course and all of that. So make sure you check that out, and make sure that you also check out Jonathan Winbush's course, Creating the Unreal, if you want to get started in Unreal and you're a motion graphic artist. It's a perfect place. And I would also like to mention, now that we can officially announce, because we've gotten far enough into the course to announce this, Caitlin is making us a course as well for launching on our site. We're super happy to partner with her on this. It's going to be on Procreate, and it is gorgeous. It looks great so far. I love what she's doing with it, and oh my gosh, I just can't wait to share. She's come up with some really fun stuff. There's multiple camera views. You get to see her using the iPad with the pencil and full screen, and she's got some great illustrations. She's going through all the techniques. So if you're really looking to get into doing illustrations and things on your iPad in Procreate, this is going to be the one for you, and it's going to be
I'm excited
gorgeous.
To take it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I think my daughter's actually looking forward to taking that course as well. So that's all that I have, except for Camp Mograph, which it's getting exciting now. It's getting real.
Yeah, it is. Super excited about this. So we we have all of our teachers, all of our workshop instructors, which is really exciting. So y'all can check it out, campmograph.com. We've got Matthew Encina, Satine Phoenix, Naki Din, James Ramirez, Clinton Jones, Caitlin Mahoney, who we just added. She's doing a producing course for us, which is awesome, and Wes Lover. It's going to be absolutely insane. I'm so excited. I started putting together all the like cabin assignments and stuff like that. So that we kind of knew, like, because I had a rough estimate based on some of the things, but like, so tickets go on sale next week, next Tuesday. Excuse me. Next Tuesday at noon Eastern time. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure you are at your computers. The good news is, sorry, I need to take a drink. The good news is that doing all the cabin assignments and everything, we were able to see an exact number of how many tickets we have for each cabin. And I'm super excited to say that we have more than previously anticipated for the treehouse cabins if you're looking to get into that. But
it still doesn't mean
it's
there's
still
a lot.
limited. Yeah, it's still limited. Keep in mind, we're keeping the camp small. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. And we're super excited because it's going to keep it small and intimate, and it's going to feel awesome. So
Yeah.
make sure you pick up your tickets June 1st. First come, first serve. So get in there.
Yeah, this is the
now
hard part is we have so many friends that we'd like to just give tickets to.
Yes.
Or
Absolutely.
give early
That
access
is the
to, or
hard
whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's so hard. If we did that, then there would
If
be
we did
no,
that, it'd just be all of our friends.
which would be great, which would be awesome.
Yeah, it
The
would
problem is the general public would like to be able to get a ticket as well.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's what's cool. And here's what was cool about last camp. Speaking of that, we had so many people there that we didn't know. And by the end of camp, I felt like we were really close with, you know, and we became friends and stuff like that. So if you're just having all the same group of friends that you talk to every day, you don't want that. You know, you want someone else. You want different people. So it's going to be really, really fun. The treehouse cabins are going to be great. The Hobbit houses are going to be great. Keep in mind, everyone, when you buy a ticket, it is a community ticket. So you are sharing a cabin with multiple people, you know, but you'll have your own little bunk space area with the divider and everything. So don't worry about, you don't have to choose whether or not you're not forced to sleep on a top bunk or a bottom bunk. Like,
yeah, you get the choice. Those are both yours.
You get the choice. If you want to sleep on a top bunk, you're more than welcome to. But you know,
it's spread out enough for that. And the thing is, like, there is plenty of space. We are just not adding tickets. And that's the dilemma. It's like, oh, well, why don't you just add more tickets? There's plenty of room. Well, that takes away the whole point of the whole thing with it being small. So the only solution to this problem would be to have more than one camp a year, Matt. I'm looking at you.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We got to see how this camp goes.
Going on, right? I mean, just do a couple more camps. No big deal. Okay.
Well, if this one's successful, we'll look at it, you know, but, you know, we want to, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Like, it's so nice to have something to look forward to.
I know.
You know, especially something like this, being able to see all the peeps in the industry again and stuff. And having spent the past couple days, like, putting together everything and seeing where it's gonna be and the tickets and getting everything set up. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. If for some reason you do miss out, once tickets are sold out, we will have a wait list that you'll be able to sign up on at the Eventbrite page.
Right.
So make sure to do that. If you want reminders, subscribe at campmograph.com. Also, one other thing I was gonna say. So I had this idea. You know, I have a feeling we're going to have a few people in the Portland area, you know, who want to come to camp who may not necessarily want to stay, you know, like they may not want to stay on site. Yeah. Or if you're not really into the whole community cabin thing or whatever, and you're getting an Airbnb, we're totally fine with that. Absolutely. You know, but, I would say your best bet for that are buy some of the yurt tickets, you know, as weird as that is, because they're the cheapest price, because the yurts they're just
They're
like
yurts,
big tents.
giant.
They're yurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big tent. It's not glamping. It's just a big tent with a couple of bunk beds in it, right, and some heaters, right? But if you're planning on staying off site or whatever, buy yourself a yurt ticket, then you can still show up for all the festivities. You don't have to, you're not tied to actually staying on camp if you don't want. But yeah, and it'll save you a little bit of money. So, I did the math the other day. All right. And, bringing on all these sponsors and all the sponsor dollars that have gone into this have actually cut every single person's ticket cost in half.
Wow.
So yeah, which is insane, right? So because of all of our amazing sponsors, they're helping keep the ticket prices down and being able to bring in all these amazing people, as well as, the food and the drinks and the linens and everything. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Linens and things. Yeah. So, big shout out to all of our sponsors. Make sure and give them lots of love. Our village sponsors being Maxon, Otoy, and Video Copilot. Big shout out to them. You'll be staying in one of their villages. And then our gold sponsors are Grayscale Gorilla and Minimal Massive. And then our bronze sponsors, A Scripts and School of Motion. So big shout out to all of them. We are so thankful for them and helping keep the price of tickets down. Camp Mograph, it doesn't make any money. We're not about making money for us or anything. Any little bit of money that we do make just goes into the next camp.
Right.
So we're super excited. We just want it to be a great space for all of the motion designers in the world to come to. So yes, eventually we'll get to the Euro camp. I gotta find a European person to help me out with that.
European and
Mr. Eventually maybe we'll do destination Mograph. We've thrown that out where it's like an
island somewhere.
Like rent out an island or something.
That might not be.
We'll have to get a lot of
affordable.
sponsors for that.
I know. An all-inclusive island somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then something happens and we all get stranded on it, and there's no more motion designers in the world anymore.
Then there's no more motion designers, right?
Yeah.
There.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun. Yeah. If you want more information or you want to check anything out, make sure to go to campmograph.com and sign up for stuff. We're going to send out a email blast tomorrow reminding everyone that tickets go on sale next week. And then send out another one on Monday to remind y'all that it's happening.
Set your timers.
Yep. It's going to be exciting.
Cool. Well, I have a quick note. I just thought this was an interesting issue, and I thought I would bring it to the forefront here. I was downloading a bulk amount of content from Google servers the other day, okay? And these are in zip files, giant 50 gigabyte zip files, 20-something 50 gigabyte zip files, okay? This is on their takeout system. This is a Google migration thing, right? So I'm downloading and it's going really slow. And it starts kind of fast, then it goes slower and slower and slower and slower, and I don't understand why. And I try Chrome, and I try some other things, and I start Googling the issue. It would just come down to a crawl. I'm like, Google servers are not this slow. So I don't get it. So I opened up Microsoft Edge, and I said, okay, maybe this will download faster if I'm in Microsoft Edge. Maybe there's some problem with Chrome. For days, like, these things were failing, right? They'd go for 17 hours, they'd fail. I'd try one, it would go down to like 2 megabit download. These files should be downloading at like 1,000 megabit, right? They're just not, and I don't understand why. But in Edge, it downloaded fast. 50, but I'm like, okay, but it's going to my C drive. I can't fill up my C drive with all of these giant files. So I put it back to the drive it was on. Bam, back down to 2 megabit. Well, wait a minute. So I'm realizing that I'm putting it on this giant drive because that's where I have the room. It's kind of a spare drive, and it's hooked up via USB 3. Even so, what I'm realizing is the speed of the internet coming from Google servers is faster than the write speed of the drive through that USB, to the point where it was saying it was downloading slow because it couldn't write the file onto the drive fast enough.
Interesting.
So we're now to that point where the speed of the internet and my internal drives, which are all like, M2 drives, like all that speed is good, right? But the speed of the drive itself is now the bottleneck for downloading files. So I just wanted to mention it because if you ever have to bulk transfer files, I mean, if you got a client and they got like a big old ProRes file or something, and you're like, oh, it's downloading to my drive. I'm trying to dump this footage on. It's going really slow. Think about whether or not the drive is fast enough to compensate for the awesome speed of the internet. Now mine is I'm downloading at a gigabit from their servers.
Wow.
It only took maybe
That's
4 hours to download, I don't know, half a
lot.
Yeah. Petabyte.
Wait, so the M2 is the bottleneck?
No, the USB drive.
USB.
As opposed to the M2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I'm
something-
guessing it's just like a typical hard drive setup.
Yeah.
Like HDD.
Yeah, just one of those little portable ones you buy at the store, but you just don't.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, you just don't think about that fact that the write speed is actually slower than the internet.
Yeah.
But we're to that point.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Wanted to quickly do some Ravcock. What's your flavor?
What's your flavor?
And talk about some Octane things real quick. First of all, Beeple has now, this is in Variety. This is a Variety exclusive. Beeple has joined J.J. Abrams, Ari Emanuel, and Eric Schmidt on the board of OTOY, for the advisory board for OTOY. And so there's an article on that. That's very interesting to hear. I'm interested, you got these people on the board on the advisory board, but then I think Beeple's input as an artist is going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
And I need to go watch the GTC talk because this been out for a while, but now it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jules put it on
it's
YouTube.
finally on YouTube.
And I want to go check that out. Octane 2021.1 is now out as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I was reading through the features and everything. You can finally do light linking with volumetrics, which is a huge thing. There's a bunch of different gradient types as well, which is cool. There's so much more. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was going through and reading, and it's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. You've got geometry clipping but I don't know if that's going to be in standalone only, because there's a few things where it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense in standalone, but I don't know if that makes sense in like the DCC or whatever. Like, for example, they've got like the what is it, the SDF when you're merging to kind of like the volume builder, volume mesher type thing, they've got that in standalone now. But yeah, I don't know if that is even possible.
I'm still behind.
I know
on all these old
I'm
projects.
so excited. I'm so excited about being done with our dude. Next week I'm upgrading everything.
Yeah.
I'm all R24 or S24 and Octane and whatever.
Well, hopefully
I'm so excited.
There's no plug-in for this 2021.1 yet. So in Cinema
not
4D,
20. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
there was a R6
R6
version,
update.
release 6 of 2020.2.3 R6. Yeah. And from what I've been hearing, everyone's saying it's super duper stable and stuff like that. It's really exciting. I'm excited to get on board with that.
How's the motion blur doing in render right now?
I don't know.
Updated yet?
So here's the problem. Here's our problem. And this is the problem with, like, being on the wrong version of stuff, for a big project and stuff like that. It's like as much as I want to complain about things aren't working, the number one thing that I would do if something wasn't working is upgrade to the newest version, right?
Exactly.
But I can't do that specifically because there's one issue, right? We are on old, outdated versions of Cinema and old, outdated versions of Octane, and for some reason, those two ones together cause color differences, and we've been working in that the entire time.
Yeah, we just can't update anything.
We can't change it, you know?
So we can't
which
say,
sucks.
oh, there's this issue, because it's probably because we haven't updated to fix it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Exactly. So I'm so excited to be on all the stable things now,
Yeah.
you know? So that then I can complain when something goes wrong.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but I think also I don't know if this is official yet. I know Render has they've implemented the 2020.2.3 I believe into it, and I think you can now use 2020.2.3 in the render on the render network as well, which is great. Super great.
Yeah.
Happened right at the end of our project.
Right.
And so
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Oh, math nodes. Yeah,
Math
Billy.
nodes.
Math nodes.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. I give it like 3 days and C4D will have a plug-in version.
I know, he's so quick.
Yeah.
He's so quick. But... All right. Ross, let's talk about you now. Now, here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
You and I, we chatted on Discord the other day, and we were talking about getting ready for the show, and I was kind of asking you, you know, what you did before this.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, well, I really didn't do that much before this. So it's not, we won't have like a long discussion about your 10-year, 20-year career path in motion graphics. But it is interesting to hear how you got where you are now. First of all, this is one of those little known facts, I think, but you are roommates with Ryan Talbot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, small world. How did that happen? Did y'all know each other from motion graphics
Ross,
already?
I didn't even know you lived in Dallas for the longest time. I thought you lived somewhere else.
I didn't.
We met you in Vegas, right? At the karaoke night and such.
Yeah.
No, the first time we met was when you came up for the show at SIGGRAPH, right? Didn't you come to the live show at SIGGRAPH?
I was at NAB first.
Were you?
Yeah. Actually, my first design event was Motion Plus Design in LA.
Okay.
That David Ariev kind of coaxed me into coming to. I was like, oh, that was cool. Yeah, what's this NAB thing? And so then that was the second one, and was obviously way bigger. And I think that's where I met a lot of people for the first time.
Yeah.
Who, prior to that, I'd only watched their tutorials. And so that was cool. And then I was at SIGGRAPH that same year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, I was getting ready to move out of LA anyway. And then, global pandemic stuff happened. And I basically just, I saw the worst still to come at that point. It was mid-February when it all started kind of hitting me oh, okay, this is a big deal. And I don't think it had hit anyone else yet. And so I was like, I don't want to be in a city this large when that realization strikes the public. So I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible. And I think the governor issued some kind of thing where they were like, yeah, we're going to close down LA's borders, or he said something along those lines. It was kind of vague, but I wasn't taking any chances, so I just kind of threw everything that I could fit into my car and then just took off to the first location that was willing to host me, because I know a lot of people from various walks of life across the U.S., and so I got in touch with a buddy of mine in Utah who let me stay with him for about a week, and then another friend in Colorado. And so I was kind of skipping around there for a month or so until I settled in Austin.
Just spreading COVID everywhere you went.
Oh no. Well, here's the thing.
Getting away from the purge, you know?
Right.
Well, that occurred to me, but I was also probably the safest person that I knew. And as evidence, I have a CBRN like special forces mask here that is like rated for to stop any biological threats, a third the size of actual COVID particles and nuclear fallout and a bunch of things. I was like walking around in that before people realized it was
That's funny.
what was coming, and they thought it was like a joke or something, but I'm like, no, this is serious.
Right. And you got your crash helmet around there too. See.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, you are like the admin essentially of the Get NFT Discord, and we'll have our little Brady Bunch thing going on with all of the people's faces in there, and you're like right in the center with your crash helmet on, like, your 2x zoom lens going on here.
Yeah, I can hit it real quick just to
see,
because I can't.
Yeah, there you go. On the Discord, it's like the zoom lens just keeps getting closer and closer. I think you add a millimeter every day.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh
boy.
So you're okay. So you moved. So you already knew Ryan at that point when you were in LA.
Yeah. So I believe we met at NAB, and we went to like a couple extraneous things there too. Like he invited me to some like Halloween party, and we kind of linked up and went to that, and that was fun. And then so I had been living in Austin like all throughout 2020, just like in my brother's spare room, and doing my thing. And I just, he came and was just like, it's been really cool having you here. And you haven't done anything wrong. I just want to make that known. But I also just kind of want my house back, and which was very understandable. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll start looking. And then, like only a few days later, I think I was browsing Instagram and I saw Ryan made a post, talking about like, hey, I'm looking for a roommate, yada yada. And I was like, oh, well, that would be perfect. We could do like a render house, like they do those gaming houses where they just have like
render house,
like on Silicon Valley.
Yeah. So, and so I was like, yeah, this seems fine. I wouldn't need to move that far either. It's like a 3 or 4 hour drive. And so this kind of seems ideal. I went and checked it out, and it all ended up working out. And then it was quite the move. Like, keep in mind, this is all during COVID hours, and then also I kind of was expected to show up back in Florida. That's where I'm from, so that explains the gas mask, the helmets, So I was expected to show up in Florida with family for Christmas, and then I didn't trust planes and airports, and I hate them anyway. So my siblings and I, we all just drove down there, and so the whole move was like, I had a bunch of stuff sitting in my parents' garage for a while, and I just kind of packed it up into my car and then drove straight to Ryan's place, dropped all of it off, and then the same day drove to Austin, loaded all the crap up there, and then took off back to Dallas. And all the while it was like, because I'm a TA for School of Motion too, so that was just starting up, and it's David's LCR course, which is very intense. And the startup for those things is typically like the busiest time. So like in the midst of all that, I had to figure out a time where I could just stop for like an hour or two and like record video critiques and then continue on the course. It was wild. Really glad that's behind me now, because that was that really stretched things to their breaking point. But Yeah, so now I'm here. I'm living with Ryan. It's going great. Um, and yeah, that's kind of where the story begins here, I guess, in January of 2021.
So what
Yeah.
were you doing before
Yeah.
motion design?
Well,
Mhm.
that was the whole reason I brought that up, is because that was my
Mhm.
question on our call the other day. And I was like, "What were you doing before motion design?" He's like, "Well, nothing." Because
Yeah, I'm 26. Like
right.
I was at,
Mhm.
I was in high school, and then I went to like my first college where I just kind of floated around without a major and met some really great friends that I'm still close with today. And then uh, I kind of realized like, okay, I can't just keep hanging out at a
Mhm.
college and not really going down a track.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll do design. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for design. And so I went to
Mhm.
Full Sail,
Mhm.
and they have like a digital art and design program. And that's
Mhm.
basically like a 20-month like crash course in a bunch of different things. And so I figured that was a good opportunity to like kind of survey and see what I fit in with the
Mhm.
most.
Mhm.
What do they
um
cover? Is it like print and 3D, or is there like
Not so much not
composition,
yeah,
film?
yeah, not so much print.
Mhm.
There's like graphic design, there's photography, Photoshop, like Illustrator stuff, videography, um, animation, like 2D animation and After Effects, some compositing in there. And then at the end of that, like 3 months or something before graduation, they just kind of like threw 3D in there and are just like, because I hadn't really stuck with any of those. Like
Mhm.
they kind of bored me. And then like 3D happens, and I'm like, oh, finally, like here it is. This
It's
is what I've
Mhm.
why
waiting.
didn't you tell me
Mhm.
about this before?
Oh
Right.
yeah, like
Yeah.
here's this thing that you can do and make literally anything with. Have fun with it for the next couple months, where your education license then runs out for it. It's
Right.
like, wow, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of where the 3D got started. Those friends that I met at my first college helped me get into like computer building, and I had like built a gaming computer at that point, and so it was just a logical course of action to get Cinema 4D for that computer and Octane subscription,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's kind of where it got started with David Aryev's free tutorials that he put on the
Mhm.
iDesign channel,
Mhm.
and kind of took off from there.
Now we're doing this a little different because we don't have that much to talk about in this segment, and we do have a lot of stuff, a lot of NFT stuff to talk about. Not just what you're doing,
Mhm.
not just about the weekly stuff, but I think we can really get into a great convo about crypto art and cryptocurrency and the whole deal. So we're holding out just a little bit longer. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about
Mhm.
everything except for the NFT part. We'll probably have a longer NFT section today. I'm just letting people
yeah.
know.
Yes.
Um, so let's talk about everything besides that for a minute, and we might go into that early. It'll be a short show, like we always say. And so
26, man, you're at the perfect age right now.
that's
It's
yeah.
like 27 was where I finally got my shit together. So
Hmm.
you're right on track. You're right on track.
Well, that kind of
Yeah.
ties into the NFT stuff, because like
Yeah.
that was what Dave and I talked about. Was I've kind of just like I've made that my whole wheelhouse, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
that's how I'm becoming known and kind of
Right.
doing things, and so it's all kind of centered on that. But we can't really get into it too much until
Mhm.
We'll get
it's
to it.
that time.
We'll get to it here in a second. I wanted to mention though that there's something about being in your 20s. And I had this conversation with Rev the other day, and Arya was giving me a hard time. He's like, oh, Dad Dave. I'm like, no, but it's true. Like the stuff that like a lot of people do in their 20s, like it's when you have all that time, right? Because you get older, you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you have kids,
Mhm.
a house, all your responsibilities in life and all of that stuff happen. And like, the older you get, it feels like the less time you have to do anything. And Rev
Mhm.
was talking to me about that the other day. We were talking about being in your 20s and whatnot. And I'm like, man, there's just, when you have all of that time, was something about being young. You have all of that time to just experiment, and try new things and work with software. And a lot of times I'm like, man, if I were only 20 and had what I have now, and of course no one's ever going to have that, but there's something about the tools that are available now, kind of like that post GPU render era of Mograph, that I wish I had when I was in my 20s, because instead of like kind of understanding 3D and kind of understanding how this goes, I still have to sit there and wait 5 minutes to see one frame update.
Yeah.
If I had like
Dude,
this
I remember
real-time
I remember
feedback-
when you learned V-Ray
Yeah.
at the place that we were working. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this in V-Ray, right? And it's like we're waiting 15, 20 minutes a frame, an hour a frame.
Yeah, and I just, wish I had the time sometimes to do some of those things. You end up, working on your career or your business or whatever it is, and unless you set aside like X amount of time per day, like it's like you just don't have the time to experiment that way anymore the older you get. And maybe it's just me, but I think it's awesome that you're able to dive into this kind of like with this fresh look, and you have so many possibilities about where you could go with what you're doing right now. It's just absolutely insane, and so I definitely want to talk about that. Is there anything that we want to talk about before we go into Mograph recommends? Because we are moving to the drop early today. Anything else? Okay, then. All right.
Go
ahead.
In Full Sail, what did they teach you? Like which 3D program did they teach you?
Cinema 4D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. How'd you feel about the program? Honestly.
There's a learning curve, especially if you're coming from not 3D, and I wasn't even like even in high school and the first college and all that, like I wasn't the artisty like type. Like I went to a military high school, and my plan was to like pursue that, and then I realized how much I hated like getting woken up early and getting yelled at, and so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll figure it out later. And then so art kind of came along, and then to throw 3D into that, it's just like having to, I don't know, you need to wrap your head around it, because it's not like it's a whole different kind of art in a sense. I don't know, but I was also always really into games and like gaming and things like that, and I think that to some extent helped me, because I'm always the type in games, it's like I'll get really caught up in like customizing the car or like customizing the character and doing those kinds of things, building maps or levels or whatever, and so I feel like there's some transfer there, but who knows. I think I just liked how technical and like the possibilities it offered, and kind of like as soon as the bug like bites you, you're kind of all in on it. That's kind of what happened to me.
And
How was what's the price at Full Sail? Was it expensive? I would think so. I went to a trade school. The reason I asked, because I went to the Art Institute and I hated the Art Institute. Like, it was basically just a diploma factory.
Yeah, and in many ways, I don't know. I kind of feel the same, and you'll hear this from a lot of people, but it's what you make of it, so on and
absolutely.
so forth. But yeah, if the 3D bug hadn't bitten me, like who knows where I'd be right now. So I'm just like really glad it did, because it's like really awesome being involved in all this and like what it's, the potential that it has. Yeah, so that's
the thing about it's the time that you spend with it yourself, right? It's like how much interest you have in it. That's always like what I get from anybody that goes to the Art Institute, Full Sail, or whatever. There's always kind of that Full Sail, or the Art Institute. It's like, right. I get what you're saying, but I know a lot of really great people who went to those schools, and it's because they're the ones that said, I have access to this stuff, I'm going to utilize it, and they dug in, right? So an example of this here is like I've been getting into Ableton recently, right? a lot over the years. It's like, oh, dabble in it for a weekend or whatever. There's always a point with software, and this is like the Houdini discussion. There's always a point with software where you finally get over the hump of interface, and then you're into the creative process. So, like, for example, if I sit down in Cinema 4D, I don't have to worry about where the buttons are or how to do that thing. It's
Except
just,
the tags.
Yeah.
Since they changed them.
I can't find them. But the thing about it is, I go in there with a purpose to create a certain kind of art, and it might take me a while to do, but I get the art done. And now in Houdini, if I were to sit in that, even as much as I kind of sort of know about Houdini, I would not be able to sit down and just start working. Same thing was with Ableton. And every time I opened it up, I was relearning. But I've been watching a lot of TikToks and learning a lot more about Ableton, and I've been jumping into it a lot more. This is where it comes back to that time thing, right? I usually don't have nights or weekends to do this stuff. I'm either working on a project in cinema, or there's weekend stuff to do, there's kid stuff, there's, something we have to go do, a house project, whatever it is. That's the whole thing, right? You get older, it's not a bad thing, but you just most people tend to have less time at that point. I have an understanding girlfriend who allowed me to spend 2 days this weekend when I finally had a free weekend to just dig into Ableton. And now I may not be good at making the music itself or mixing it or any of that stuff, but I don't feel like I have an interface problem anymore. All that to say, when you really have like those moments with a piece of software where like time disappears, I feel like that's when you make this headway. And Ross, you and I were talking on Discord one night, and I feel like you've had these epiphany moments as well, but you are so dedicated. You're kind of in that spot where like your sleep patterns are all over the place because you're digging in, you're doing these crazy things. So, what is your sleep like right now? How does that work?
I don't know if it works or not yet. We'll find out in a few months, maybe. My sleep schedule's just always been crazy and bad, and I often just, I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm on a different schedule entirely, where, I at this point I'm staying, like, my waking hours, that's how I have to measure it, is like, rather than days, is in more like waking hours, and so those can be anywhere from 24 to 48, and then I only sleep until I physically collapse from exhaustion, and then I wake up and do it all over again.
Extremely not healthy for you.
I'm sure it's probably not.
Nobody said it was healthy.
Yeah, that's not really a concern right now. Maybe soon. Like, I don't want it to get too bad, but I don't know. It's also just, it's all I know how to do right now, and so it's just like what I'm doing.
You're on the fireman schedule.
Yeah.
Kinda.
But that's the thing, when it's fun, it's like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, if you're so into it that you're working for days without stopping, you must be really enjoying it in the long term, right?
Yeah. Well, and as bad or as unhealthy as it is, it's kind of like I've almost begun utilizing this as a tool to enter certain fluid mind states, I would say, that are like
fever dreams and such.
Yeah, when you stay up past a certain point, you enter this you enter this delusional mania where you can't actually like you have ideas.
I don't drink or do drugs, but man, have y'all ever stayed up like 48 hours and then looked at the back of a $20 bill?
Yeah, literally though. It's like a stream of weird otherworldly like inspiration and like conceptual stuff that just like pours into your head, but you're too like out of it to like act on any of it. And so what I just did is I just write down like really rough notes of these things, like enough to give me like a grasp of the thought, so it doesn't just like escape me entirely. And then when I wake up and I'm feeling more sane, I'll just go back through those like rough notes of a madman, and I'll just like write them out in more description and more detail and actually make them work. Because at the time I come up with them, like I know they'll work. I just like I don't like it's an intuitive thing. Like I won't know how. I'll just be like, this could be effective. This will work in some way. And then the next morning
Ross to figure out.
That's for morning Ross.
It is. They're two different people. It's a gradient of insanity that just starts higher and higher and higher, and then
gosh, there's the 3 a.m. person that's burnt out but in the zone state, and then there's the morning state. They don't bug me because I haven't had coffee state.
Yeah,
those are.
It's a sawtooth pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's either or. There is no middle. That's for sure. But it's great though, right? Like it's a great feeling when you really feel like you've like. Are you drinking a beer? I just put two and two together.
It's Topo Chico.
Oh, okay.
Topo
Chico. Mineral water.
Because I was gonna say for you, it could be 10 p.m. at this point. We have no idea. It could be Miller time. It's
really weird because I don't consider. I don't know. I don't consider myself someone really influenced or run by emotions, but at the same time, that's the only thing that's able to like section off and compartmentalize my day is oh, I'm feeling like it's time for this. Like it feels like 5 p.m. to me right now, and so it is
somewhere.
And so that's just that's kind of
how long do you normally sleep whenever you do?
Yeah.
Oh, like a rock. Like you.
No, how long?
Oh, I don't usually count that.
Like, are you raring to get back up? Like, do you wake up in like 4 hours with more ideas, or is it just like, no, 8 hours?
Are you out for 13 hours and then?
No, I wake up pretty charged up and ready to go. It's I also have ADD, and so the medication probably provides a little kick to put me in the right direction. But
that could also be the insomnia as well. We just put my kid on ADD medicine, and they say, oh yeah, it can cause some crazy insomnia.
It certainly exacerbates it, but it's always been weird and bad like this. So I can't I can't just shirk off all responsibility to that. I'm sure it doesn't help, obviously. But that's also, the thing is, once it puts me in that direction, I can just go indefinitely.
They say with ADD is people with ADD can focus really well on something as long as it holds their interest.
Right.
And if it holds their interest, it can hold their interest for a very, very long time.
Right.
Yeah. Like tunnel vision, I won't eat, I won't
right.
I have
That's
to
also
remember
could be the medication as well.
That's definitely a big part of it. But I've also just always been terrible about eating. That's also just a natural thing because I just get zoomed in on something and I can't see anything else happening, and it's just like
it's a good feeling though. Like I know people do this for long periods and whatnot, and that part of it is probably unhealthy. But you get in that zone and it just feels so good because. I am not ADD, but I definitely feel like I have traits sometimes, and some days there is nothing that I latch onto. Some days I just cannot. There's nothing that holds my interest. I can't get anything done. I don't want to get I just can't do it. And then other days it's like, oh, 6 hours went by, and I didn't even look at my phone, and I didn't even eat, and I didn't, there's something, when you get in that zone, it's just so great.
Yeah, I agree, and because I'll think about that sometimes. Like when life stuff is coming up, there's some kind of drama happening. And then I'll just because I've got like a couple fish tanks, and so I'll just look at the fish tanks and I'll be like, I kind of wish I was just like a fish, because that's just their entire life is being in the zone and only having one singular purpose, and that's just to like wait for the food at the top of the water and just swim and then be in the zone and then do that. That's, I don't know. I think that focused energy channeling state. It's like a cat.
Like a cat, you just get to eat food and chill out and
honing, or when they're like honing in on prey. I don't know. There's something like oddly primal about it.
Right.
But it's great to just disappear into it. Like even an immersive game or something like that. That'll do the same thing. Like you're trying to stay alive. You're trying to fight your way through whatever, and you're just kind of there and in it, and like you don't have to think about anything else. That's great when that happens.
Well, we're obviously doing things out of order today. So we're gonna.
It's like my sleep.
We're gonna come back to that and hit a bunch of NFT stuff. But we'd like to do a little segment called Mograph Recommends, where we ask you some of your favorites, and I think it's a very good indicator of what drives you sometimes. And the answers to these can be either an all-time favorite or something recent that you enjoy. But we're gonna start out with your favorite movie.
Okay.
Is it Hackers? It's Hackers, isn't it?
No, I think that's before my time even. I got really
way to make me feel old.
Yeah. You got this Hacker Man vibe going though.
Yeah, it's the camera and the visuals. Yeah. I got really into the like Jason Bourne movies at 13. Like too much. So that would have to be it. I was like, I need to be Jason Bourne. Like the purpose of the movies totally eluded me that, he regretted this decision. These people, they made him do these things and brainwash. Like I was just like, Jason Bourne's really cool. I want to do that. Right. So like, yeah, that kind of set me on the course. So I kind of have to say that, but I also really love more recent ones like Elysium and Interstellar and the Christopher Nolan Batmans.
Interstellar, it gets like a bad rep, but I really do like that movie.
Yeah, I feel like it gets a bad rep too, and I don't really get it. I'm not like a movie critic type, I guess, enough to be able to not like it, but hey, I mean it's got a lot that I like.
And including Matthew McConaughey, so can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
What about TV shows? While we're on those lines.
TV shows. Let's see. I gotta think. TV shows are very transient for me. Like I don't really like it, it's just kind of whatever I happen to be on. So like, what's the one on Prime? That's the space one, The Expanse. That one's awesome.
I've heard of that.
This is a recommendation time. I recommend that. But it's not a casual thing. You can't be on your phone and watch it. Like, you'll miss a lot.
Into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that about that show. I'm thinking about checking it out.
Yeah. Definitely check out The Expanse. I've been watching Super Jail lately.
I love me some Super Jail. Let me tell you about Super Jail. I was so into it when it first came out, and it was so hard to find. Like, it came on Adult Swim at like 3 a.m. one time, and I was like tripping out. And so I managed to somehow find copies of these and burn them to DVD because I was so into it.
That's just a whole genre, right? Like Adult Swim at 3 a.m. is when you're barely awake and you think you're in a fever dream or something. Yeah, that's...
And then something Tokyo Megaplex worked on, inevitably shows up on, Yeah. And then I also have that buddy of mine that was on the show, Sane on Adult Swim. He did that show on there, but I don't think that's around anymore. But yeah, it's that late night, weird, trippy. He also worked on Too Many Cooks, which was also premiered at like 4 a.m. Yeah, that's such that whole genre of cartoons, like that's where like Rick and Morty kind of stems from too, Just
that's another one,
And the art
there's
is super
so many.
Like the hand drawing is so amazing. Like, God, how do you explain it? It's like it's a jail,
I don't even know.
It's a jail in the ether for like the mega evil people, like somewhere out in the universe, and there's a warden and stuff and a top hat and a cane. But I guess it's
not even like a super villain type of jail though. Like these are just normal people. It's just the jail itself is this weird like ethereal entity that's driven by this like really eccentric warden, and it's very psychedelic. I would explain it as that.
A fight
It's
always
kind of
breaks out in every episode.
always, and it's extremely brutal. Like if you're not a big like blood and guts kind of person, don't watch it. It's very brutal. The whole jail and system is kind of propped up by that jailbot character.
That's right.
That's just this omni robot capable of doing anything like very quickly. Like hardly has a weakness. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's another good one.
Sea Lab, all those classics.
But also Star Trek. Like I'm a fan of Star Trek.
TNG?
I definitely side.
Which one's your favorite series?
Yeah,
it has to be probably The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
with
talking
Jean-Luc. Yeah, that's
Jean-Luc.
it's so good. Like the writing, the concept of all the things. It really you can turn on any episode.
Yeah.
And just enthralled. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. The commanding presence of Jean-Luc Picard.
Like I want here's a business idea, is if somebody gets a tube television that just has every episode of these prolific shows like that, and then you turn it on and you don't get to pick which episode or what time frame it starts on, and you can just have that on, and it's to simulate how entertainment consumption used to be, where you just had to turn on the TV and watch whatever was on, except now it can be your favorite show all the time with no commercials.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah. I tell my kid that all the time.
Yeah, I would buy something like that.
Yeah. Carlo, I'm a fan of Enterprise. I did enjoy Enterprise. I hated the opening sequence. I felt like I wanted to just dig my ears out every time that thing started. But I felt like Jonathan Archer was a good captain, I
don't think I saw that one.
Yeah,
Enterprise was good. Like the thing is, it was good. I enjoyed it. I not as much as The Next Generation, or I loved Voyager as well.
And
but
Kevin
I
was
never
in the
got
chat,
into Deep Space Nine, even though everyone I've talked to actually says that Deep Space Nine is the best one.
If you're
I wouldn't
into
say
it's politics in outer space, though, you have to be into that.
You got to warm up to it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something that's not as serious about it.
All about.
I've watched the entire first season, and I just did not care that much.
Yeah. You got to watch past the first one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It hooks you at some point. I couldn't tell you when, but it does. It took me a bit to warm up to it as well, but I kind of trudged through it because I had just watched The Next Generation beforehand.
Right.
And I was like, I don't even know where I'll turn after this. I just watched 10 seasons of this amazing show. I can't go to anything else now.
Well, I got into Deep Space Nine because it was the new thing and there were new episodes. That's kind of why I watched it, but it did fizzle out, because Next Generation ended and I kind of got the last half of the seasons. But
yeah,
I wonder what Kevin would watch if he were here.
Oh my gosh. I really liked Voyager. Voyager, to me, because I only watched that. I probably watched that, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago for the first time, and I just wanted to go through that. So I binged the whole thing on Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought Janeway was a good captain, and it was cool to see the Borg as more of a presence and stuff like that.
Captain Janeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we know what kind of drives your Hackerman experience now from your movie and TV influences. Now, when you are being elite hacker and you're 1337ing people, on I don't know where I'm going with that. What do you listen to when you're hacking into the Matrix?
It's a weird question for me to answer because it's
there's some System of a Down in there, I'm assuming, right?
There's some, but not regularly. It comes out on karaoke nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
But typically, I dislike anything with lyrics. I typically can't stand lyrics because I don't know. I don't like other people in my head when I'm in that zone. It has to be like some like I don't know, lyrics get caught up with it because then I'm it's the artist singing their thoughts and me going like, well, that's stupid. Like what?
Are you
Like,
not listening to
I don't want to feel things.
deep
I don't want to feel
house
things
techno
while I'm
music?
working. Come
like
on.
driving
No.
beats?
No, because I don't like that either. And so it's very weird. I like don't know what I'm looking for. Okay, so in a movie, like any movie where the villain is introduced and there's that like song plays and it's usually like a deeper like kind of drone. It's very dark. That's typically what I'm after is like villain introduction music or like Last Stand. Give me your handgun and go on without me type music. I like that too. That's
Building
like,
the empire.
that's epic.
Yeah.
Kinda. I'll like Aphex Twin. I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Like any of his aliases.
Come to Daddy.
Yeah. Old 12. Not really that one as much because lyrics. Now I'm thinking about Come to Daddy. I don't like that as much. Lorne. I don't know if you've heard of Lorne.
I know the name.
LORN, electronic artist, IDM, a lot of IDM.
So you don't
Boards of Canada.
You don't get off the call and then like the lights start flashing and like the whole rave thing happens and you're like typing on your clickety clack keyboard really loud and
and
you're just
the lights don't clack and the bass line doesn't hit.
You bring out the glow sticks and you start raving in there while you're. No, none of
No.
that? Okay.
I have a bunch of LED lighting, but it'll like, I don't know. I have fun with that. It kind of goes to a deep red, kind of more subdued, something that's not going to grab my attention.
It's a good
and
hacker
then, like,
color. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I turn around in my Empire chair and you just see me behind the screens. I got like a bunch of ultra wides.
You have a cat on your lap. That's the question.
No, I'm allergic to cats.
Oh,
I
man,
can't do
okay.
cats.
All right.
I'm a lizard man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Oh man,
yeah.
This is a really good segment for you, Ross. I feel like I'm really getting to know you.
Yeah.
Well, there's.
Jeff Webb asked in the chat, "Do you listen to Power Glove?" My question is, do you wear a Power Glove? I think that's more relevant.
I would if that was like a practical thing.
While you're typing.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Not Power Glove. I really like Mega Drive though. That's just an artist I can put on, and I won't have to worry about a song that comes up with like a, I don't know, a vocal clip of somebody saying something dumb that it pisses me off and I have to skip. Like I can put on Mega Drive and anything that comes on is going to be. I have a few of those artists that are really good. You ever heard of Igloo Ghost? Okay, well that's another one to check out. It's like a manic state, but audio.
Are you just taking random words and mashing them together?
I'm not. I'm completely serious.
I like
about all of this.
Tornado Frenzy.
Yeah. I love
Oh,
Lamp.
is that what you're doing now? You're just.
Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna like the next one. The next one's Clams Casino. That's
Coffee
that's another
Levels
one
is the best band.
I'm a big fan of. I don't know that one. A really weird genre that my friends and I started getting into in 2020 is it's. I don't know if this is actually a genre. It's just Russian doomer music. And if you look up
that what you're talking about right now, I have no idea.
If you look up, okay, well, when you get a chance on YouTube, just type in I think it's Russian Doomer Music 6, and it's like a 45-minute playlist of just like really depressing alternative rock in Russian, and it's all set like the backdrop are like these really like depressed-looking cartoon characters with like Soviet bloc housing images behind them. I don't know, something about that speaks to me.
But see, isn't it so important?
I worry, Ross, that maybe you're an evil genius.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Liam's here. Liam said, "What flavor Matrix paste is your favorite, plain or beige?" I think that this segment gives such a great picture of who the artists on this show are, and especially today, I think it really shapes how people who haven't met you before, now they know you.
Yeah,
for sure,
intimately.
Yeah, I'm not sure they want to.
Do you you probably don't listen to podcasts then, I'm guessing, unless you're not.
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to podcasts. One more artist I just want to go over before.
Sure.
His name is Colin Stetson, and this is probably the weirdest of the bunch. But oh man, I get a kick out of Colin Stetson. It's this guy that plays a massive saxophone, and he hooks up 6 different microphones in various areas of it, and so it sounds like he's an entire like ensemble, but it's just one guy, and he'll circularly breathe for like 10 minutes with all these microphones hooked up to the saxophone, and then while he's playing the saxophone, he'll like throat sing through a throat mic. He does the percussion through like the paddles of the, I don't know what they're actually called, but it's almost like drums. That's how he does like the percussion. He has one at the end, and then he has a few other elsewhere. It's insane. You watch him play for 6 minutes live, and he's like dripping with sweat. He's bright red. Like, you're like, this guy's gonna die. And the sound that comes out is like horrifying.
This guy's gonna die.
But I love it. I love Colin Stetson.
You're gonna have to link me to something. I'll put that in the show notes. People can check that out. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Plugin. Besides Render Engine, what is your favorite plugin? What do you like to use? What's your go-to?
Besides Render Engine, this feels like a cop-out answer, but like anything that Merc guy makes, amazing.
I hope he's doing okay. I haven't heard a lot out of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot from him.
I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ross, going back to the music thing, is there any band with lyrics that you do like?
Yeah,
there are.
There are exceptions. I like vocals as an instrument in and of itself, but not
actually
to convey an idea. I don't like that. I like let's see. I've been into Portishead since like Portishead since I was in like 7th grade. Their System of a Down, obviously. Like I could never give that up. Crystal Castles, but like I said, their lyrics are kind of more like an instrument where it's really distorted shrieking or something like that, where I can't understand it, so it passes the test.
What about Sigur Rós?
No, I haven't really listened.
You should check them out specifically because they're an Icelandic band, so you wouldn't understand any of the lyrics.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always an option because with the Russian stuff I was mentioning, it's like I can't understand the lyrics. I can just tell they're really sad about something, but I can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'll
check out Sigur Rós. Sigur Rós is good.
Gustav says Merc's been MIA. He was gone for a while because he got in like an accident, but how about lately?
And then he came back.
Yeah.
And
he came back.
Now I haven't seen any more of them. I'm not really sure what's happening.
Is his
okay.
firmware not been updated? Is that the problem?
Because he is AI.
He is AI. All right, let's see. What is your muscle memory go-to app on your phone? Are you an Android person?
No, iPhone. I tried Android.
Okay.
I liked Android because I could like customize the app, like appearances and colors and things like that. Because I want, I don't want my phone to feel like another phone. Like it's got to feel like a hacker interface or something.
Of course it does.
But I'm on iPhone because it kind of works.
So what's your go-to Hackerman app then? Like your muscle memory Hackerman app?
Oh man, I gotta think.
How does one hack from the phone? But
typically I'll go to Signal, and that's like a messaging app. I've got group chats on there with my friends, and I'll just I'll stop by, see what they're up to. They're really into crypto stuff, and so I'll like see like, hey, what do you think about Number? Number's bigger today, and they're like, Number is bigger today, yeah. That's kind of the go-to. If I'm on my phone, it's typically like I'm away from the computer, and so I'll open MetaMask and just see how big the number is. Various other wallet things like that. I have a bunch of like art stuff on here actually. There's a lot of cool art apps for the phone that I think kind of get slept on.
Yeah.
But you can do some interesting things with them, like my profile or my portrait that I gave you for the show. Was like I used this app called Bellis 3D, and I believe it's free. Oh, you've heard of it? Okay.
Yeah.
I scanned people's face with it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So so it works. I just scanned my face with that, and threw that into 3D, and that's how I made that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the whole reason that I got the iPhone with the LiDAR thing was to be able to start doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which has been really cool. That's. I haven't been spending too much time on my phone lately.
Lucas says he's waiting for Merc 2.0 to come out. I think that's the thing. Prepping for the launch of the new AI.
He's updating.
Yeah, he's updating.
It's a long update.
Do you play video games then? Or do you not have time for that?
I don't too much lately, but like definitely, like that's my go-to entertainment rather than going outside, going to a park, meeting people. Like
what's your
I'll
go-to
game
then?
Oh man,
like
I hardly played any.
A shooter or a role play type person?
I'm both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have I have weird criteria when it comes to games as well. If it doesn't have like either like guns, race cars, or spaceship type stuff in it, I'm typically not interested. So fantasy stuff typically doesn't do anything for me. My go-to for a while has been Siege, Rainbow Six Siege, and I got really into it like a few years ago and just kind of dropped off and don't really bother much with it anymore. But I still have the muscle memory, and so it's like that interface thing you were talking about with software is like, I could start playing a new game and learn that, or I could just go into Siege and kind of have half an idea of what I'm doing. And it's got a very steep learning curve too, and so it's kind of just like, well, I'm already here. I might as well just this up. I've been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn lately, though.
I've heard good things about that one. Yeah.
Very cool.
Jump on Halo 5 with this, man.
Honestly, it never got into Halo.
I didn't either until I met Dave, and he's like, you have to play Halo. No, you can't play it on PC yet. Halo Infinite, once it comes out.
You can play everything but 5 on PC.
But 5, yeah.
I mean, I would hop on if you have a PC one.
The new one's going to be on PC too, apparently. So
Yeah. Day one release too.
And they're going to be interconnected, which I think is really weird. Like you're going to be connecting the PC shooter people with like the people using controllers, and there's a big difference there.
I mean, that's what happens with Fortnite and all these other ones.
I know.
Now
for Halo, like everybody's like, you could only be as good as a controller, right? When you're using the controller and you're playing people who have a precision mouse on their computer, there's going to be a big difference.
Yeah, but always.
Hey, I got a question for you, Mr. Hackerman. What is your favorite life hack? Mitch Myers turns the toaster on its side for some bomb-ass grilled cheese. But you, as a hacker, must also have some good life hacks, right?
Favorite life hack? Oh, I don't know. That's weird. I don't really. I mean, I don't know. I feel like my whole life is a life hack.
It could be like it could be something about like life in general, like self-help type stuff, or it could be like one of those toaster type hacks. It's like not like life-changing or anything, but like what do you do? Like what's something that you do? That's like a shortcut in your day. I mean, it could be the sleep stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of one.
Yeah. We might just have to go with that, but
I'll think on it some more. I know I've got like a ton.
It's always hard when you're on the spot, like
No, I should have an answer for this. I'm disappointed that I don't. There's just I don't know. There's a lot that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I gotta think some more on that. Yeah, we can come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We can go to the drop and think about it
Okay.
another time. Are you ready, Matt?
Let's go.
Let's go to the drop.
The drop.
Is this the fucking mic? Drop. This is exactly what I should be doing.
What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of The Drop, your weekly source for all things NFT and crypto art, as well as upcoming drops by notable people in the Mograph industry. I'm Matt Milstead. Joining me, as always, Dave Koss,
Yo.
and as well as Ross Morris from Cryptobiotica. Many of you may know him or may know Cryptobiotica, and the fun stuff. I'm excited to talk about it today. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit longer episode because I think we're going to get into some fun crypto talk besides just the drop space. So let's real quick just hop into the drops, get that out of the way, and then we're going to hop into the Cryptobiotica.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick.
Oh,
so you
Please
guys
do. Okay, cool. First up, let's go over to the big drops on Nifty Gateway and Maker's Place. Nifty Gateway, I feel like Nifty Gateway has listened to all of our advice saying, stop doing so many drops.
Yeah.
So they've basically got like 1-2 maximum per day throughout this week, which is awesome. I think that's really, really good. We don't have links for all of these because, for some people who are doing a drop on Nifty, feel like they're too cool to actually put some sort of like thing together.
Promo or link or show what it's going to be.
Or even just saying, hey, I'm doing a drop this day. That's one of my biggest beefs with Nifty Gateway is I wish the artists would show what they're selling ahead of time, because it's like, I don't know. Anyway,
I know. Yeah,
today, the 24th, what are we in? May 24th.
Year of our Lord 2021,
Greg Fargo and Infected Mushrooms, the band, I guess. They're doing a drop today, which is cool. I think it's like this whole like series of different mushrooms and stuff. So that should be fun. That's at 1:30, so that apparently started an hour ago.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so
pick it up on secondary.
We should see how that's going.
Right.
I'm gonna look at that. But tomorrow, an artist by the name of Giant Swan is doing a drop as well. I'm interested in this one. It says limited digital editions. It's like, I don't know. I'm interested to see what this is about. Like, it's the same thing. Like this cool little animation that they're showing and stuff.
Like, is that the NFT?
Yeah, is that what they're selling? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
could be a little more informative.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's a cool animation.
That's where
I thought
people
that was neat.
pick up interest. I guess they don't care. They're like, I'm gonna be on
I
Nifty,
agree.
so I'm just gonna make money, whatever. But
yeah,
a little promo and hype would be good.
Right. Totally. Next up, the 26th Wednesday, we've got BD White. Doing a drop. We got some of that sweet astronaut action.
Heck yeah.
It's not an NFT if it doesn't have an astronaut in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that one on the 26th. On 27th, 3 Lao. I'm pretty sure I'm saying this incorrectly, but I feel like this artist is a big artist in the industry, in the crypto space, but they didn't put anything on there, so I almost skipped them, but I feel like I recognize the name anyway.
Yeah.
On the 28th as well, you would think with two big artists like this, they would, want to actually promote it. But Chad Knight and Cascade are doing a collab together.
Yeah.
Ross is over here doing his taxes.
Yeah.
Just
I'm opening a meat and cheese packet.
Ooh. That protein dough.
Yeah, it's his midnight snack, right?
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Chad Knight Cascade. I like me some Cascade. I hope that it's a valuable.
I like Chad Knight's work too, as well.
real
I just wish I
collab.
could see. wish I could see what some of this stuff looks like.
And it's
I'm
like,
real
and
sad
it's like,
about that.
talk about the relationship. Like, what is Chad
Mhm.
Knight's relationship with Cascade? Is there one, or was it like, hey, we just need someone to do a thing? Like, did you have did you talk? Did you collaborate? Did you get on Skype? Did you have like a moment where you were like vibing with the artist, or did their like publisher come and say, hey, make us a thing?
Right. Okay, Billy, yeah, 3Lao is a DJ. Okay. I knew I recognized
Anything that
it.
has a number in it instead of a letter, most likely is going to be a DJ.
Is it Slough?
I'm thinking Slough, or it could be ELAU. Elau.
Oh, Elau. I don't know.
It's like Deadmau 5. You just don't know.
Right, exactly. You just don't know. Anyway, also on the 28th, ExoArt.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Hugs and Kisses art? I don't know.
Hugs and Kisses art.
Hugs and Kisses and Hugs.
So art.
This one actually has a link. They did a thing, which I don't know what it is. It's called Hello World, which is interesting. I like. We'll see where that goes.
Are you able to read this code on command?
Pronounced Blau. Is it really?
Can you,
Cameron? Is it pronounced Blau?
Oh, that makes sense because
that would
3
be
is a B.
so stupid.
Blau. Okay.
That's so stupid.
But I'm trying to. Can you, Ross?
I can't read code. I don't do any coding.
Oh, come on, hacker man.
It's all about the aesthetics.
3 is a B. Okay. I don't know.
It's just the
Hacker man. All right, and that's it for Nifty Gateway, which that's actually all the drops for this week, which is cool. I'm glad they dropped down the amount of drops and that they're doing per day, which I think is good for the industry. I think it's good for Nifty Gateway, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it puts more attention on the individual artist, which is good. I think that's good for our space.
Yeah.
Only one drop this week on Maker's Place, which is today. The super talented artist John Norlander did a drop with Manchester City. Boo, Manchester City, West Ham United forever.
Oh
I love myself some West Ham, and I'm sad that Manchester City won the Premier League, but whatever. So there's a bunch of really cool animations and stuff. If Manchester City is your thing and all, I would do it to support John Norlander, not Manchester City. Now, if John Norlander worked with West Ham United, I would be all over that. Hammers forever. Let's see. In the community drops, we only got a couple here. Let's see. We feel so stupid. Last week we had Jan Sladeko on the show, and we didn't even talk about his NFTs.
Oh my gosh!
Right, we didn't even talk about his NFTs.
It's because we were all on a hard out, and we were trying to get done, and we finished up we didn't even talk about your drops.
Yeah.
So we'll put those in the
Jan's
notes.
stuff, I believe you can find them. I think it's on. Is it on Maker's Place Foundation?
I believe so. I will link to it in the notes.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll put it in the notes. Next up, we've got Paul Robinson, Send 3 Productions. Paul, Dave, you want to bring this up?
Plan B.
This one, this
B.
one's so good.
Yeah.
This one's so good.
I'm trying to zoom it in a little if I can here. Here we go. It's not too bad, but yeah, check this out.
I love this one. He said he actually modeled everything, which is rad.
Nice.
But it's and it's got a sweet loop and stuff like that. It's a really good piece. The stuff that Paul's been putting out is really, really good. And Paul, you're underutilized at the WWE. They need to do more cool stuff. You need to do more cool stuff for them.
There you go.
Anyway, next up we've also got.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? He just got a bid on one of his first pieces, which is cool. It's really good to see that.
All right.
Next up, we got Andy Needham. Andy Needham did one on Hick and Yuck.
Don't get me started about that name.
But this one's cool. I love this one. I think it's super cool. He says he was playing. He's been watching his kids a lot lately, and got kind of inspired by one of his kids' toys, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
I think it's way rad. It's one of those little poppers. Little poppers.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like the index of refraction that he used inside of there too. Really does it for me.
Nice.
It's actually really cool. Like, look at how the light affects in the back of it. Like, I like that. That's pretty dope.
Well, I think there's one half is the red thing, and then the other half is like a mirror on the backside, right?
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
something like that.
And then, yeah.
Do we have another?
Yeah, we had another one. Actually, no.
No, they were both Paul.
Oh,
there were
that's
two
right,
Paul.
that's
Like
right.
I put in Paul last
We
week,
both
and then
had
you put
Paul.
him in today.
So that's all.
Oh
That's
no,
all
we both
got,
put him in
huh?
at the same. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
If anyone is doing a drop or has dropped a new piece or whatever, and you want to pimp it on the show, whatever, feel free to shoot us an email, info@mograph.com, and we'll post it on the air.
Yeah.
So don't hate on the Tumblr of NFT
The
platforms. Which
Tumblr.
one?
That's funny.
Hick and yuck. He yuck.
When
I mean-
when Goofy wants to do his NFTs, he picks a yuck.
Yuck.
I mean, no hate on the platform itself.
Right. It's
Like,
a great.
No,
I
I-
really like what they're doing. It's just,
Yeah.
oh man, the name bothers me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's no way to like tell it to someone in person without sounding like you just like had something break in your brain.
Yeah.
They're
You
just
gotta
like,
spell
did I
it, and you're
just-
like heist T and none C.
Did I just hear a typo in person?
X? But yeah. Sorry, I spoke a typo. Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
can call it hen, and then I'm just thinking about chickens. Or then you can call
Right.
it hick, and then I'm thinking about a guy that lives in the woods.
Yeah.
And then
somewhere
you
that-
finally do it. You
Loves
finally
chicken.
spell it out for someone. They're like, "Oh, .com, right?" No, it's .xyz. Like,
Right.
I've never even seen a site
It's
with
just-
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
that. Just smash
Honestly,
the
if you told
keyboard.
me-
You'll get there.
If you smash your face against the keyboard and hit enter, you'll be
Yeah.
there. Like that's the big problem is like I don't know I don't think I could not even begin to type in the address like of it.
Right.
I would literally type hick and yuck and see if like I get there.
Yeah, Carlos
You know?
says a cat walked across the keyboard. That's actually
Yeah.
how they signed up for the domain name. The cat
Right.
was on hover.com and like walked across and hit enter, and it purchased
Right.
the website.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
hmm
Now apparently it's Latin.
Yeah, that's what I
We
mean.
know. It's
Oh, you know. Okay.
It's just
yeah.
stupid.
It's Latin
dumb.
for not understandable. I don't know. It's Latin for
It's Latin
obscure.
for unintelligible.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Cryptobiotica. Finally,
Let's talk. Let's
Oh,
talk.
sure.
tell
Yes.
us about it. Tell us about all the things.
Tell us a little bit about because we when we had the special a few weeks ago, that's when we first talked about Cryptobiotica,
Mhm.
and I felt like, and this was kind of as the NFT space was kind of dwindling down a little bit, but this Cryptobiotica thing, man, it piqued my interest again
Mhm.
because I'm a big fan of like Pokemon cards and like breeding Pokemon and stuff like that.
This is just such a great
This was-
example
this
of
very-
using
yeah.
the blockchain instead of just,
Absolutely.
oh, here's an NFT. This is a whole nother level. And so explain to us from the beginning what for somebody who has
Yes.
not heard of this before. That's the thing. Somebody's just watching this and they're like, what is this site?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Cryptobiotica was a biotech company that reached out to me, and I want to say, like late February, and they had this really remarkable discovery that they'd made that I didn't believe at first, and it took a lot of spelling out, and then the next question was why are you contacting me? What do you want me to do? And so to spell it out, they basically they're using some kind of algorithm, some kind of engine that interprets like digital information as if it were physical information. And so that essentially allows them to take digital information and view it as though it was, the same way that we view our own world. And like, that was pretty mind-blowing enough to me. But then they said that they had actually found these forms of life living in this world, this void-like environment, because they started looking into Ethereum's blockchain first, I guess. It's a very digital-rich environment, and they found these things moving around and living out their lives, basically creating this like fast ecosystem, within the blockchain that people are using continuously, and actually feeding off of like energy discharge from that blockchain, which was really interesting, especially when they started drawing parallels for me between like ocean life and things like that, and how the basis of the oceanic ecosystem is formed by these like autotrophic unicellular organisms that just kind of convert sunlight into their own food source, and they in turn feed larger organisms, and so on and so forth. What the impression I've gotten so far, because they are kind of secretive, just kind of giving me what I need to know to do my thing, is that they're seeing the same kind of system develop in this like bizarre digital environment, and so they've kind of dedicated themselves to exploring this further and mapping out these chains of life, because there's a lot of very specific attributes and or I guess I should say traits and properties to these life forms that we're not like super familiar with, as is, like, if we're trying to put it in the context of animals and life that we do know, it's something else that I don't think has ever been seen before or discovered. Like for instance, like evolution is typically a process that requires like a lot of time to play out and for us to actually see happen.
But in the digital world, it's faster, right?
Yeah, it's like instant. So, there a lot of these terms being used, I don't even feel like fully encompass what is being observed. So like species and things like that, like the best we can make of them are, different species. But in reality, it's like two species of animals, two different species of fish, for instance, like could not like breed together and then make a new kind of fish.
Right.
But that's what we're seeing here with cryptobiotic organisms, is like two of them from different apparent species can actually, they refer to it as pollination, I guess, because it's not like physical contact is needed at all, and it's all some kind of digital transfer of information.
Similar to the way like bacteria can share DNA, right? So like if you like, that's why they tell you not to take antibiotics, because antibiotics, can hold DNA from things that will kill. Well, so basically it will, if a bacteria becomes immune to antibiotics, it produces that DNA that will make them immune, and then can very easily pass on that DNA to other bacteria. That's why they fear of this like superbug, this super bacteria that is completely, immune to antibiotics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to compare it to,
So that would be like an attribute being passed down, and these have that too. But they're actual like means of of reproduction, like the mechanisms and process, I guess, that occurs through, like it at least hasn't been made very clear to me, but this lab seems to have gotten at least the mechanics of it down to a point where they figured out how to encapsulate them within, an NFT, which, like, it sounds a little out there, but I mean, it doesn't really when you consider they're also digitally native in the most literal sense possible. For them to be able to captured within a certain indivisible mechanism, I guess, of the digital. That's the most sense I can make of it myself. But like, yeah, they figured out how to put them in NFTs, and beyond that, they can trigger this like pollination process through blockchain transactions.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is like, where does the NFT pollination part fall into? Explain the process.
Right. So the NFTs are, they have to be prepped in a certain way. It's not like any other kind of art form where you can, figure out a picture. Okay, I'm going to mint this, and then you're putting it on the chain. That's it. Like, they have to create a container that simulates their natural environment, and then take that container and then format it into an NFT, and then at that point there are certain mechanisms built into that pre-NFT state, which they call an NSFV, which is a non-fungible sub-void, that enables like a waste energy pass-through when a transaction is being transferred to a specific wallet address. In Cryptobiotica's case, they've arranged for that to be their lab's address. And so when you own two of these of the same evolutionary level and state, there's actually a form on the website under pollination tab, and you can initiate a pollination, a couple different types at the moment, to basically combine two of the different species you own into one new one that is distinct from either parent, but adopts cosmetic traits and other attributes from either parent species, essentially. And so they really wanted to, they really reached out to me to kind of facilitate this whole program they're calling the Pollinator Initiative, where they don't feel like they can get through all of the work needed to be done to map out these evolutionary chains. And so they were like, okay, well, we can do this NFT thing. What if we just get open the door to the public for their involvement? Because it's like an interesting like development, and people might be interested in this. So they kind of tentatively reached out to me like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. We see that you're in NFTs and kind of leading communities. Like, do you want to try setting this up? And I was like, yeah, sure, this is really interesting. And so I sprung for that. And, here we are now. And yeah, so I'm basically managing their Pollinator Initiative in a few different like facets. Like I help design the cards themselves. I'm working on the icons that represent the attributes of each species. And the cool part, I almost forgot. When you combine a pair of species that has not yet been combined, you're essentially discovering a new species for the first time, because two parent organisms will consistently produce the same organism. And if nobody has gotten to that yet, if no other researcher has done that, that new species is yours, and you maintain like a pretty great degree of ownership over it. So you can determine its common name. You can determine how many specimens of it will exist in captivity, and you could read that as additions.
Right.
You could you have sole access to adopt these additional specimens for 0.1 ETH each. So if you wanted to get your whole own little operation going where you're like trading them for others or reselling, like you're welcome to do that. You kind of maintain full ownership over these, even though, because you like, that's kind of the reward for participating in the research and helping progress this cause of theirs. And that's really the gist of it, all that.
I got this form here too. So you fill out the form, you put in your email, you specify the pair of, this is for the second phase. So that you specify the pair of first phase species that you want to pollinate. Yeah. Then you verify that you're going to pay for the transaction and all of that, and your wallet address info.
Yeah.
And then they're pollinated in the lab. Is that how that works?
Well, so the transaction itself is actually what triggers the pollination. Because like I mentioned before, the NSFV component of the NFTs has this waste energy pass-through mechanism that when that transaction is sent to Cryptobiotica's wallet, it allows that waste energy to pass through, and therefore it triggers the pollination. So each of these transaction like amounts, so you'll see like 0.4 for the second phase pollination and a 0.35 for the first phase pollination, like that has been determined to be the like minimum threshold to trigger this reproductive process. And so like you can turn in the form all day and say you have species, but without that transaction actually going through, like you're not triggering anything. Like they're just, getting a notification that the form was filled out, because essentially what happens is upon being hit with that wave of energy from that transaction, they in some way, and this is I think why they're calling it pollination and not like mating or breeding, like through like a non-physical way, that information is able to be transferred to that transaction like the moment it's sent out. And so those two streams of, I guess, data from either parent species kind of intermingles within said transaction, and then the spawn will actually materialize at the destination of that transaction within that specific digital void that wherever that transaction is going to. And so it's set up to only enable this to go to the lab wallet, because that wallet in particular has been set up with this very specific, or this very, I don't know any details about it, some kind of capture apparatus. So as soon as that thing spawns and materializes there, it's already captured. And that's actually their only means of like capturing these things. Like they don't know how to bring them out of the wild, I guess you could say. So they've engineered this whole system in order to be able to track like evolutionary lines and study them in depth and up close and in detail, which it also doesn't disrupt, I guess, these strange ecosystems they're finding, because who knows, if you take out one thing, the whole thing could collapse. They just they don't know about any of it enough to be able to make that kind of certainty and judgment call. So
Liam asks, what were the three starting species that these started with?
Three starting species? I think that's a Pokemon reference. There's actually 8.
There's 8
base species.
I'll catch them all.
There are 8 base species.
He also wants to know if this is safe. We're not supposed to cross the streams, so you're not crossing the streams, are you?
What streams? Is this
It's a
another
Ghostbusters
I never
reference.
played
It's a
Pokemon.
Ghostbusters reference.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see Ghostbusters?
I don't think I have.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, don't cross.
You're gonna run into a lot of things
yeah.
like that with me. Oh, you haven't seen it? No,
I
I haven't
trap
seen
ray.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Can these species evolve? Wait, I lost it. Can these species evolve to complex-looking organisms, or are we still early? Oh, that is a good question.
That's the thing. We're still really early, but and I mean, you could go to if you go to the Twitter, it's just at Cryptobiotica. Like, I notice personally, as each time these, like, a new one is found, they're getting further and further more complex, especially if in terms of evolutionary development, because you have first phase evolutions, and those are the result of any of the 8 base species, like a cross-pollination of them. And then you have second phase, and that is any cross-pollination of the 28 possible first phase evolutions. And
because I'm wondering, like, in the distant future, are we going to see, like, those evolutions in the form of maybe like cilia or fins or things? Are we going to start seeing, are there attributes that are coming out that are starting to look like those types of things that we see in physical evolutions?
Yes and no. I mean, I noticed stuff like that. I've noticed some stuff like that, but there's also like weird stuff that we don't really see, like that we're not really familiar with, because it's like, it really is like this parallel world where, like, just about anything is possible. Like, one of the latest ones that came out, because we actually just processed 2 second phase evolutions, and those were really exciting. One of them has this, like, sonar mechanism built into it that, like, releases this very high intensity energy pulse that actually, like, broke a bunch of lab equipment, and their whole, like, system was down for a couple days there. And so I mean, I'm sure, bats have echolocation and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't.
It might be hard to recognize these evolutions because we're trying to compare it too much to physical world, right? Like,
right. And honestly, it's just still so early on. There's just no telling what we'll eventually start seeing. I'm really excited to see it, though. I don't personally have any myself, because I'm just, like, way too busy managing the whole thing to get into it. But I love the chance to be able to just, sit here and make it happen for other people and kind of see how this keeps evolving and developing.
yeah, Liam wants to know, do you have to feed him or anything, like Tamagotchi? Is that a thing? Or do they sustain after that?
What do you mean?
They don't, like, die. Like, you don't have to give them food.
Oh, they're sustained.
Yeah.
As far as they can tell, they've developed these NSFV things I mentioned can sustain them indefinitely. So their natural death and life cycle is typically at the mercy of like blockchain volatility and things like that. So entire, like, orders and families of species can just be, like, wiped out if a coin suddenly, like, nobody's using it anymore. There's no energy passing through that. They have no means of surviving. They can enter some kind of dormant state for a little bit, I think, but that's typically how their life and death cycle will play out. But as long as they're sustained enough, like, ambient energy, which is the purpose of that, like, NFT formatting recipe they do, they'll just go on, and you won't have to worry about it dying or feeding it, like anything like that.
So if somebody wants to get started and collect these in their wallet, what do they need to do? Where do they need to go to start?
So that's the thing. We're sold out of all 8 of the base species. That happened very quickly. That was like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And all 44 were gone. And now at this phase, if you go to Cryptobiotica's Maker's Place Marketplace, there's a subsection of that marketplace labeled available for adoption.
Okay.
And you'll see 2 first phase species that are available there, but they're not going to be cheap at this point, because essentially if the only way that Cryptobiotica can resell any discoveries from other people is if they like explicitly give permission for them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been 2 people. One of them, Luminous Blue Death Star, and how these are priced is basically the resources sunk into finding this species is going to be their direct resale price. But
gotcha.
what you can do is you can go to any of the first phase evolutions or any of the base species, and you can find who owns it now, and then make their current owner an offer, and see what they would be willing to part with their specimens for. But it hasn't been, they. I haven't seen a lot of people have luck doing that. A lot of the people involved in our project, who've been made as like research associates because of their involvement, they're much more inclined to hang on to these. So I've seen a lot of like low ball offers come in that just get rejected. I've seen a lot of people actually bid higher than was the original asking price. Still get rejected. So you could try your luck there, or you could go for one of these available first phase species and cross-pollinate them to make a second phase, which are looking to be more and more exciting as this goes on.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people are adopting, and gosh, there's more questions here. Yeah, Liam says, so if Elon says we're not accepting a certain coin anymore, that's a nuke for them, right? Like, his question is like, since energy is, or matter is not created or destroyed, where do they go? Where does this energy end up when the coin disappears on the blockchain?
We'll get into some metaphysics stuff here.
Right.
That's the thing, though, is
we'll see.
They might only have, like, and when I say they, I'm referring to Cryptobiotica, which is the lab. I've never met anyone in person. Only like a handful of phone calls. It's mostly through email type stuff, really. I got to use this app that's like heavily encrypted, and they will not contact me through any other method. Yeah. So they're very locked tight on details and things like that. And so I'm kind of given as much as they believe I need to know to keep the operation afloat. But honestly, personally, I'm not sure they even know the answers to some of these questions. They might have a clue, and the best you could hope for is that they'll like release it one day. I've actually, let's see, when was that? Friday, I was told they plan to start gradually releasing more information, because they got a whole bunch of data from the last few pollinations that went through, because they were the first, second phases. So they're still processing it, I guess, but they learned a lot of stuff. I wasn't told any specifics, but
I'm sure we'll find out as things get discovered and whatnot. I'm sure there'll be some press releases and whatnot.
Yeah. It's kind of like research briefings. That's not what they're called. I think they're finding reports. There's been one release so far, but
I saw
the impression
I
got
those like photos, was imaging like electron microscope looking things.
Oh yeah. That was apparently almost like I guess like a Gen 1, you could consider it, of their interpretive imaging system. It very much looks like an electron scan-esque. Yeah, but apparently that actually damages them, that technique or method. But that was like a couple of years ago when they were first finding these and didn't know what to make of them. But at this point, I think you'll see that it's been like much improved.
But are these
and
images like digital representations of what we would see? You know, like, oh, we can't see an atom, or are these actual?
Right. Well, I mean, that's the gray area, isn't it? Because it's running it through a computer. Like, I get a bunch of people that are like, well, isn't this just CGI? And it's like, well, they're computer generated, so yes.
Right.
Like, in the most literal sense possible. It's just I forget the actual name of it. It's called like a P2 die algorithm. It's basically this engine that takes up like a room full of servers that's just crunching digital data and interpreting it in the same way that a brain does to signals that your eyes send it.
Oh, I got you.
And so that's what you're seeing, is that interpretation being spit out by this algorithm.
I got you.
Interesting.
So I'm sure while you're working in your lab there, you're watching the price of cryptocurrency.
Oh, I'm not in the lab.
Too. Oh, you're not in the lab at the moment? I mean, you have your own lab.
I mean, my lab is just my computer station. They have some kind of actual lab out there in a location I've not been made aware of, actually doing the science and doing the work. I'm just kind of like, I've kind of become the de facto like front man for the whole NFT side of things and the public participation component. Like, I reach out, I follow up with people, I do all the customer like PR stuff. Although I'm bringing on more staff, I've just recently had to start bringing people on because it's getting to be more than just I alone can handle.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying you've been watching the price of cryptocurrency as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's pretty bad right now. It got really good and then it got really bad.
You know, it's what it was a month ago, is how I look at it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been sort of half following it, and all of my friends have been following it since 2017.
Yeah.
And so they're still up like 20 times in a lot of cases. So I don't know. It's not too bad. I've been told specifically by them, because I've asked about this myself, is like, hey, so these cryptocurrency prices, like, what does this mean for the whole thing?
Right.
And apparently it doesn't matter. Like, the valuation that people place on blockchain and various tokens, like, apparently these organisms don't really care, and they're just gonna keep doing their thing anyway. Because when it was really high, like, I had people asking me, and I reached out to the lab, and I was just like, with the price so high, like, can people submit like lower pollination fees so that progress can keep going? And the answer was just like a resounding no, because that's literally the minimum threshold.
The minimum you have the threshold.
Yeah.
Because it won't trigger the pollination or the reproductive cycle otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. So it is what it is, I guess.
Oh boy. Look who's
Oh
here.
boy, it's Dorpy.
Oh boy.
What is this?
I had to stop by because I heard the words crypto art and labs, which are two of my favorite words. So I thought I'd say hi. I just been watching what you're talking about here. I hope these things can't get out of control and take over the place, like in Jurassic Bark.
Is this a new species or something? What am I looking at here?
I tried to go research a little bit, but your site said you had to be over 18 to enter. So
That's not true at
I
all.
only meet that requirement in dog years only.
Okay.
Dorpy, I think that you were not on the right website. You went to you're on cryptobiotica.com, right? What? Biotica? Oh man, I did
Where
not.
did you go?
I did not get that website right. I gotta go erase my internet history. Bye.
Erotica.
I don't even know. I don't even want to know where Morphe ended up.
Dorpy.
Dorothy.
Yeah. Morphe.
I had a friend of mine called Beeple Mookle once.
Mookle. How do you
Yeah.
even? I mean, you could at least say bleeple or something similar.
Right.
Oh no, that's how it started. Each time I talk to him, he's just
changes
yeah. So
it.
how's Dinkle doing? And I'm like, where are you coming up with these? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think NFTs are going? Just in general, where do you see NFTs in the next 10 years?
10 years. Well, that's a long stretch. I have ideas for where it's going in like the more immediate future, because like obviously, and it's been said to death, but just the layer 2 thing needs to come out. And that's
Totally agree.
that just keeps,
Yeah.
it's going to be like one of those continuous things. And it's like, if Ethereum doesn't, manage to pull that off, then, it'll be replaced by a different blockchain that can effectively do that, because they already exist out there. They just weren't first to market. And so, yeah, either or, it's going forward. Like the whole gas issues and congestion issues are going to be resolved one way or the other,
Right.
whether that's Ethereum or whether it's another coin.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it's they could kind of become implemented into everything, but I assume you're referring more to like in an artistic sense.
I mean,
of
kind
things.
of artistic, like when this becomes normal, what does that mean? That's kind of where I have been looking at this recently, because we had the big thing, we had the big rally, and it's here, and it's going to stay. But as the years go by, where do the NFTs and the blockchain transactions fall for the average artist?
Well, I think their use and popularity will ascend directly in proportion to or with people's own online like sense of identity and the transference of like status and appearance to online formats rather than like physical. And so like you have $200,000 Rolex watches, and so at a certain point, like certain NFTs, like going to someone's social media profile, and which will have NFT implementation, like you'll go to their profile and you'll see things that they own,
Right.
and it'll be like the equivalent to that. It'll be like a means of demonstrating what you're into, what you do, and where you put your money and what you decide to invest in. It'll all be self-apparent and completely verified. Nobody be able to lie about it and be like, I'm really into donating to charitable causes and doing this and that. It's like, okay, well, you go to your profile, don't see any of the things that would like indicate and prove that. And so that's where I think there is a like friction point in people's online personas and identities and things like that. And I think NFTs could fill that. I don't know. The use cases are just like too numerous to even dive into.
Yeah, I mean, I never want to have to buy fast food with cryptocurrency, because if people know how often I go to Taco Bell on the blockchain.
Yeah. So use a privacy coin.
Yeah, there.
See, that's one thing that I don't like about Venmo, is that sometimes you've got your transfers as public, and it's like, that's stupid.
Yeah. You can see how much money you're spending on drugs. That's just, not a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is that's a sentiment that I think more than just you would feel. And so it would be like do you? I don't know. You would get trophies for things, even if it's going to Taco Bell. Like, here's a trophy
Yeah,
for
talk
getting
about gas fees. Am I right?
Oh my god! All right, that wasn't bad. But like, consider like the ability to display and showcase trophies that you genuinely are proud of. Like, went to Camp Mograph this many years in a row.
Yeah.
Here's all the badges received from going to Camp Mograph this many years in a row. Then people can go, oh, what's Camp Mograph? They click on it, they learn more. Oh, this person's joined to motion graphics.
And then they can see how many people also have that badge.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, everybody's in this Camp Mograph NFT club. Okay.
Yeah. So this is just one use case.
Right.
The other one, which is more obvious that I think's already been talked about, is like game cosmetics and things like that. Like being able to buy a skin, like a certain weapon skin.
AR skin. That's the one I always bring up.
Or AR, yeah. And just have it be cross-platform, cross-game.
Yeah.
And like all that verification necessary to do that kind of stuff is done. I heard a rumor Ubisoft was even getting into, or was looking into Tezos and how they could use and apply it. And I think we're going to see more of that. Like, you know, whether crypto happens to be up or down here or then, like, I would say it's definitely here to stay at this point, and it's just going to become even more and more apparent and like present. Because like Ryan, just the other week, like he got a takeout at a restaurant nearby, and on their receipt was printed Dogecoin to the moon. He didn't print that on there. Like that's
funny.
It just like it came with that. Like everybody knows about the stuff now, and so I think the lull that we've seen since 2018, like till now, I don't see that happening again.
Yeah.
I think it's seen too much widespread exposure, whereas like I only knew about it back then because a bunch of my friends were into it. And so I had to know about it.
And like Carlos says in the chat here, like property titles will be linked to the blockchain. I mean, that is a great case.
Car titles, physical things,
absolutely,
physical things, and they're accompanying. Like it's the answer to a lot of utility stuff like that. But in an art sense, it's like I think we've still yet to see the extent of like how that can change what we think of as artwork and the limits of artwork. Like programmable smart contracts is the next thing I'm looking into. Like state changes of things.
Right. Dynamic NFTs.
Dynamic. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh man, so interesting to see how it's evolving and just think about where it's going. If you're somebody who really likes to think about the future and the possibilities of the future and where all of that fun stuff is going, it's great because you can just the sky's the limit. So.
Yeah, it's kind of why I've thrown myself headfirst into it all. Because I mean, I was a TA for School of Motion before all this and didn't have too much else to my name other than that, and so I kind of just looked at this as like the opportunity to make that start. Because I have like full confidence it's going like places, and now is the time to build and the time to anticipate that and kind of position yourself at the forefront of a huge new thing that'll be world changing in many senses.
Yeah, we're definitely in the Friendster days of NFTs.
Yeah.
That's for true. We're not even a MySpace.
Facebook page.
Yeah. Get to the Facebook page, yeah. But any other NFT things we want to cover before we get out of here today? I think we might have it all covered. What do you say?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Well, why don't you give us a little outro and we'll flip back over.
If anybody has any drops that they want to get noticed on the podcast, make sure to hit us up, info@mograph.com. Send us your links, and we'll show them off. As always, make sure to listen to the full show, the Mograph podcast, every Monday at noon Central Time.
All right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here.
All right. Goodbye.
Drop. Is this the fucking mic? Drop. This is exactly what I should be doing.
Ross.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Interesting stuff.
It's been fun.
Yeah, no problem.
Stuff.
Dive
No, it
into
was
the
great.
hackiness. The hackiness.
Yeah. It's good to get it out there because that's going to be my next thing that I need to start doing is more outreach and more spreading the word and getting people's attention put on it. Like once in a lifetime opportunity to be at like a new scientific frontier. Don't really get that often. So
right.
And where do you usually hang out online? You're in the NFT Discord a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes,
not as much anymore. I feel bad. I've kind of
missing that. I went on yesterday and just hit the button just to see if anybody would show up, and nobody was there. I was a little sad about that.
Yeah, I think like a perfect storm of things. Like David and Chelsea are really busy with their NFT stuff. I'm extremely busy with my NFT stuff. I can't even like catch a breath. And then there was the sevens thing, so people kind of were focused and dropped off.
I wonder if after the sevens, people are going to come back in. You need Ariev to hit up the Facebook group and be like, "Everybody, hop in! It's Discord time." That seems to help.
He's just been too busy, which is totally understandable. But I think what we really need is just like to rally and get people back there, and there may be some news coming that people can rally behind.
We'll be in there. And if people want to find you on the interwebs, on Instagram or wherever, where can they find you?
I am RAM3DDA on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't even get on those accounts very much anymore. I'm just too busy with Cryptobiotica stuff. And not acting. But if you want to get in touch, like that's the best way to do it. But I really recommend looking into what's going on with Cryptobiotica and what that's turning into. But I promise I'll get back to the community stuff once I get a chance to catch my breath from all this, because I was not expecting this Cryptobiotics operation to take off so quickly.
Right.
Like it's been like it was like a month since launch, and those things just flew.
How many of them have been adopted so far?
Well, I think there were 44 initial base species, and those were gone in 3 weeks. And at this point, I think there's 16 pollinations. Most of those are done, but I think there's 4 or 5 in the queue at the moment. Basically, they get the species that spawns in that containment apparatus. They have to observe it as it matures, study it, document it. It could be anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks before you'll hear back, and then that's when you're sent your form, species discovery form. You get to name it on there and all that. So there's about, I'd say 3 or 4. No, I think 4 or 5 in that process right now. But every other day, new one comes in. Lab's super busy. I'm super busy managing it all. That's how it's going.
Awesome.
That's cool. Very cool.
We'll link to all of it in the show notes so everybody can check it out. Cool. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review, subscribe on your podcatcher of choice, help get our ratings up there, let people know about the show. You can subscribe to our newsletter as well. It goes out about once a month, gives you the details about everything. Make sure that you join us Thursday night for the special, the Houdini special. We'll be talking about the newest stuff in Houdini and the new update to Mark's course and what you can expect out of that. And so, you can rate us. I already said that. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. Classic. All the profits from that go to doctors. Vintage. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. The Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee. That render is fire shirt, which you are only allowed to wear, ironically, unless you're shams.
Yeah.
And the Mograph blandishment shirt. You can check that out on the website as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Mograph.com. Send us an email, info@mograph.com.
Yeah.
We'll try our best to answer or get you going in the right direction, like the one earlier. We started the conversation. We'll probably finish it on Thursday, and so.
And reminder, they can't Mograph. Tickets go on sale next week.
That's right.
So set a reminder in your phone right now.
Yep.
To pick those up.
It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
It's gonna be amazing.
People
I'll do it.
I'm gonna see David Ariev hopefully next month. Doing a little RV trip up to Colorado.
Oh.
Be fun. We've got one Monday in June that we will not be doing a show, and you can see that on the schedule and everything. It's all on Mograph.com. So we're gonna get out of here though. Until next time, I'm Dave,
and I'm Matt.
I'm Ross.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
Stand by.
Which episode was this, Dave?
284.